Yeah.
Come on.
Leave me alone. I'm not your personal sex slave.
Come on, give.
You might give me a coffee. Oh, hello everybody. We're having a good day today. And this might have a little bit to do with today's subject. Discipline. Because she doesn't have any.
Wait. Matron, take them away.
A warm welcome to one and all. This is your first time here. I am the overgrown child that is the Scruffy Trader. And if you like what you're about to see, do hit that little subscribe button. Genuinely helps and motivates me to do more. And if you want to see future updates, drop in the description and find my Twitter feed. So discipline. What's that got to do with trading? It's actually got everything to do with trading.
No way!
And it's something that is quite close to my heart. And I'm going to explain that. So let me get my coffee and we'll go sit in the study and we're going to answer a couple of your questions around that very subject.
Well, we're waiting.
Okay guys, so for those of you who don't know me, I've been around the markets well in excess of 15 years and I have made probably every mistake under the sun, and that is, well, it's the story of a new trader. Why? Because you get sucked in by the flashy lights.
Are you serious?
And there are loads, and trust me, I see them on the front of my YouTube channel, and I sometimes wonder who falls for this. You know, you get the guy who comes on, if you're looking at candlesticks, please stop, I'm the only trader. No, you're not. I'm living proof. I show my statements, you don't. And then you see the guy with the roulette table. Can you make £500 a day? Well, he's right, you can, and in fairness to him, he's been around the markets a very long time. But the part they miss out is, it takes money to make money. Because you're not going to do it off 200 quid. You know, you need a good size account. Then you get the other one. Trading without emotion. If I gave you a set of mechanical rules.
They've done studies, you know. 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, that's a load of horse shit as well. Because the markets are dynamic. They do not follow set rules. They follow a framework. And when you see these narratives of, well, if you have a big risk reward, you can win 4 times out of 10, you'll be rich.
You know, you're a classic example of the inverse ratio between the size of the mouth and the size of the brain.
Well, that's a load of horse shit as well. Because what that's telling you is you can be mediocre and still make money. No, you can't. Because what they don't tell you is every trade has to be identical. Same stop, same target, same conditions. That doesn't happen. But what can happen is you can see what those conditions are and then apply the right tool to the right set of conditions. That's what discipline is. Now, today was kind of triggered from last week when I did a video of my biggest loss. And in it was a comment from George Barra. And he asked, how does an undisciplined trader become disciplined, in my opinion? And I was kind of giving it a bit of thought. And then I got a comment from another video from Ben Thompson. So I'm going to give you a little salute to the pair of you. And that salute is from Ben. Because Ben asked, why do I salute people? And the answer is very simple. Respect. You know. Now the salute that I give is a 2-finger salute from sort of Star Wars. If you ever watch it, might be a clue as to what I like. Big science fiction fan, as you can see with the artwork on the wall here. It's a way of greeting somebody with respect and understand that you have a mutual gain coming forward. Okay, and then you have military salutes. And if you understand what a military salute is and the old sort of story as to where they came from, discipline has something to play in this. Let me explain. So the old narrative of a military salute comes from medieval time. And it's when two knights are coming to face each other. They would raise their visor to look each other in the face, eye to eye, to show mutual respect and let them see who each other is, and then carry on. Now that sort of formulated through the years to the military salute of these guys. And there is the most undisciplined person ever, but the military made him disciplined. My son. And then you have the fictional knights that I like to watch, the Jedi Knights.
Hello there.
Now you might be scratching your head and thinking, what on earth has this got to do with trading? It has everything to do with trading. Because each one of those knights had something in common. They are disciplined. Now they're disciplined by being trained incredibly well, which gave them muscle memory. So the knight of old, with the jousting, they're not going to jump on a horse for the first time, give them a grip big stick and charge off down the field. They need to know how to hold it. They need to know what the joist is. They actually need to know how to ride the horse in the first place. And how do they do that? Training. Somebody shows them how to do it.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try.
And then they do it repetitively. Logan, my son, went in, learned his drills, learned how to shoot, learned how to stand to attention, learned how to obey orders. Discipline. And then you go into the fictional characters, and if you watch Star Wars, you'll see
Obi-Wan has taught you well.
they all have something in common. And you can take lessons from that. Because in answer to your question, George, how does an undisciplined trader become disciplined? It's through training. Now, when you first start, you're going to look at these screens and you'll be shown things retrospectively, going, well, you get in here, you get out there, and this, that, and the t'other, and it looks brilliant. But to the untrained eye, that's all it is. It just looks brilliant. But to the trained eye, it's sort of, well, that's perfect conditions. To do that in the moment is slightly different. You need something more than the training. You need memory. You need to have known what those conditions are before. So the next part of discipline comes down to experience. You need to have experienced it. And this is where the story of my loss came into it.
If you can't take a little bloody nose, maybe you ought to go back home and crawl under your bed.
Because that loss was my greatest gift disguised in my worst nightmare. At the time, it was horrific, but it taught me to sit back. So ultimately, I think you have to learn to lose in order to learn to win.
What?
You have to accept that it's part and parcel of the game. And if you look at it that way, then your mindset becomes a little bit calmer. Because if you're going into each trade thinking you're going to win it, every single time, when you lose, it'll dent your mindset. But if you understand that loss is part and parcel, well, that's okay, but then you can train yourself into looking at the best setups. Now, when I'm talking with the guys in the Scruffy Squad, and if you watch the videos of me trading, because kind of the way I do the channel is Monday through Friday is mainly just the trades I take, because that's where this video channel came from. It's a sort of visual representation of my journal. And then on a weekend, I have a little bit of a coffee with Scruff, and then in between the two I try and add some educational things. But for the Scruffy Squad, they get it all day, every day. You know, I make extra videos for them each day to show them different elements of trading. Because what I'm trying to iron out is X marks the spot does not exist. That is a dynamic chart. Each time I go to that chart, it's going to be different. Likewise, if you're a knight in armor, a soldier, or a Jedi Knight, the situations you are put in are different. But your training can help you adapt and be disciplined enough to pick the right tool out of the bag for the right set of circumstances. And I do hope that makes sense, because ultimately training is your answer, George. Now, how you train is up to you. There is the long way and there is the short way. The long way is you try and do it yourself, and it's through trial and error, and inevitably most traders take that route because they're looking for the free ride. Trust me, there is no free rides in this world, and you'll probably be trading blind for a very, very long time. The other route is you drop into some form of community that understands what's going on, but a community without noise. There is so much noise in the trading world, it is unreal. I'm not a lover of social media. I don't use any trading groups at all apart from my own. Why? It's full of hipsters. The wannabes who will argue black is white, those that are trying to sell you something, those that are just trying to, well, just be trolls, to be honest. But it doesn't help you. It destroys you. But if you can find a group that doesn't allow that, I set one up for you guys. There's no sellers allowed in there. I drop in from time to time. I don't promote anything I do in there either. It is a clean space for you to talk freely, because any sellers are immediately out, any bullies are immediately out. It's an open space. If you use it, great. If you don't, it doesn't matter. But it's there simply because I used to go into sort of the likes of Baby Pips, TradeView, all these other different things. And it did more harm than good. So that's why I did it. Anyway, cut long story short, if you're looking to buy a course off the shelf, again, that could be a road to ruin.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Because courses are freely available. I've just mentioned Baby Pips. They actually have a very good course. Go on there. That'll tell you anything you need to know. You know, boom, boom, boom. But will it teach you to be a trader? No, not even close. But then the other part is you take on a coach or a mentor, and that'll help you. Now, I like to play golf, reasonably good at it, but taking a few golf lessons made me a far better golfer, even though I knew how to swing, because it put my putting straight, made my driving straighter, give me different conditions, how to get out of bunkers, that sort of thing. A trading mentor can do that for you. So, kind of an analogy I can give is, there was a chap talking to me recently. He won't pay for any education, but he's constantly saying, yeah, I put a couple £100 in my account and I've blown it. Why don't you paper trade, pay somebody a couple of £100, then refund it? At least that way you're getting some benefit from it. Dumb way. But if you're going blind, just funding account, blown it, funding account, blown it, funding account, blown it, you're just getting nowhere. You're on a treadmill of terror. You know, and if you haven't come across a treadmill of terror, it is just that. you're constantly treading water and you're not getting anywhere. So you start with this system, it works, then it loses. So you start with a new system here, it works and it loses. So you start with a new one here, it works and it loses, and so forth. And you're just going round in circles all the time. No, all systems work. You just need to know the conditions when to apply them. And a coach can tell you that.
Isn't that logical?
So, kind of a quickish one today, but ultimately it comes down to, do you want it? If you want it, you can train yourself to get it. And it's that simple, you know. But discipline, well, you either have it or you don't. You can train your mind into it if you can see the goal and you set little goals every day. You know, I do that all the time. You know, I want 200 pounds. If I get 200 pounds, I stop. The next day, 200 pounds, I stop. Next day, I get 200 pounds, I stop. That's a form of discipline because it's knowing what my boundaries are. Set yourself some rules. I will trade no more than 3 markets. So I look at 3 pairs. I will trade once a day. I will trade to 20 pips. And if you notice in that equation there, that little bit, I didn't mention the money because it's always process over money. And then when you've built your account up to a decent size, you can then put your limits on how much money you want. And I do say limits, and I mean limits, because the narrative of trading is it's unlimited wealth. Yeah, but that'll get you chasing the dragon. And what happens when you pull the dragon's tail? You get burnt. So less is more. I don't know, just my thoughts on a Saturday. I do cherish your comments, and I will try and answer all your questions. Don't get me wrong, I look at the world completely different to most of you. But I do talk to you from a level of experience. If you go through the videos, you see that I also show live statements, and there's not many do that. So as always, guys, trade well, keep your risk managed, but above all, do what you love, and the money will follow. See you all in the next one.